And in my last blog, I talked about the different websites that I've been using, such as Twitter, Tumblr, and YouTube. And I talked about how, like I said earlier, my Twitter was something that I thought I didn't even have. And after this, it's probably going to be dead. I'm not going to use my Twitter anymore. That's why I've been putting all this stuff on there, because it's never going to show up again. I'm never going to use it. Don't tweet me. Don't follow me. Don't look for me at my Twitter. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to answer you. I am a terrible Twitter user. Horrible. I should be ashamed of myself. Deeply ashamed. Not really. I think my main problem with Twitter is that, in case you haven't noticed, I have a hard time shutting up. I have a hard time limiting what I say. And while I sometimes have a hard time, reaching maximums of things, like reaching a maximum word count on an essay, I have a harder time when I'm given a limitation. When I'm given a limitation of, oh, you're only supposed to have this many words, you're only supposed to have this many pages. I'm like, but I wanted to have 14 pages. Why must you stop me at 3? So Twitter is the bane of my existence. It is the culmination of everything I hate, because it has a character count. And that especially sucks for things like links, because I can't control how many characters are in a link. Why are you penalizing me because they have a long URL? Right? I just want to make a comment about it. And forget the whole, this is one of 3 posts. No. No. That was like 6 different languages altogether, so no. I hate having a character count. I hate having a word count. So Twitter is dead to me now. After this, Twitter is dead to me. I will not look at it anymore. But I do acknowledge how it will be good for the business that my friends and I are starting. It will be good for anybody who wants to have more of an online presence, because a lot of people do follow Twitter. A lot of people do use Twitter to promote other things outside of Twitter. So I don't like Twitter. I don't like Twitter. Leave me alone. Next, there is Tumblr. I have been tumbling for a while. Not as long as some people, but I have been tumbling for a while. I actually have 2 separate Tumblrs. I have one Tumblr that is going to be used just for my business persona, and another Tumblr that I have for this persona, because they are two very different people. I enjoy Tumblr very much. I enjoy the mobile app, which I've had to get rid of a lot of apps on my phone. I have had to delete my Nook, my games, a lot of things. I will not delete my Tumblr app, because there are just some days where you're like, you know what, I need Tumblr. I need a tiny bit of Tumblr to make my day better, because Tumblr does make my day better. I know that we have a reputation for social justice warrior nonsense and trigger warning nonsense, and the thing that I have learned in my years and years of Tumblring before I even took this class is that you have to filter out what you do and do not take in Tumblr. You have to filter out the crazy feminists who want to separate all the genders and women are always better than men, and the feminists who are like, hey, can we just get these couple little things done over here? Equality, no pink tax. Is that too hard? You have to separate the Sherlock is better than everything and fans from the, hey, Sherlock's really good. So is Supernatural. So was Hannibal. So are a lot of different shows. And you also have to separate the people who are literally just there to troll. You have to separate the PTA Sanses from the Lindas. And if you get that joke, I love you. that's the thing about Tumblr. It's something that you have to filter. It's something that you have to be very careful about. And it's also somewhere where you do have to be very careful what you say. A lot of people go on there as a form of therapy. There are people who go on there because the people that they follow, the people that they talk to, the people that they with, those are the only people they can talk to in their lives. You know, you are some of the only positive communication that they get for a very long time. So you can either help lift somebody out of a really bad place using Tumblr, or you can put them further down the hole, and you have to be very careful about that. Which is why I like to point out beforehand that don't take me seriously. I make a lot of really bad jokes. Don't take me seriously. But, you know, that's the Tumblr experience. There's also YouTube. Yay, YouTube! Happy, happy, joy, joy, Markiplier stuff. First of all, I would like to give kudos to Shane Dawson, Lizbug, Markiplier, Cryotic Monkey, RPG Minx, all those guys. Because this sucks a lot more than people tell you it does. The editing process, the sound bites, finding somewhere that has no outside sound. Finding somewhere that has no outside sounds is practically impossible. I think the only suggestion that I've been able to find that's been even remotely okay was game theory mentions that recording things in your closet dulls the noise, but I can't very well record in my closet. There's not enough room for me in there. Very tiny. But YouTube, you know, it's a lot like Tumblr in the way that it is definitely a way to communicate. It's a way to, you know, stave off feelings, emotions, craziness, boredom. But I personally have used it a lot, not so much to communicate with people, but to just gather knowledge. I watch a lot of game theory, Nostalgia Critic, CinemaSins. That's my shtick. So the vlogging is an entirely different world that I have not been privy to a lot, which is why most of these videos suck. Being honest with myself. There's not a lot that I've really learned about YouTube. Apparently it's gotten a lot easier and better to upload things with. Like, it's just so much easier to upload onto YouTube now than it was literally just 2 or 3 years ago when I was making my ASL videos and had no way to get them to my teacher. Like, it's so much easier now. So there's that. And a new station might be popping up later. You might recognize my voice. If you do, please don't say anything. I know I sound crazy. I always sound crazy. I was born like this crazy, and my mom just helped move it forward. Last but not least, I'm going to talk about the different projects that I've been doing, starting with my Storify. Like I mentioned earlier, my Storify is titled Roger Ailes and Brock Turner, Entitlement and Rape in the USA. It was really a very emotional story for me to do. I personally have not had any assaults taken out on me. The worst I have had is just some side comments at the Texas Renaissance Festival, and that's it. But I have seen secondhand the effects that, you know, abuse and rape and sexual assault can have on a person. And it is devastating, and it is terrible. And it just becomes a little bit worse when you see that people aren't punished properly for it. It's a little bit worse when you see that, you know, some parts of society may punish that person for the rest of their lives. Like Brock Turner, he's never going to get a job. He's going to be dependent on his parents for his entire life. but there is still kind of a fury that the justice system, where the entire point of the justice system is so that society does not have to take things into their own hands. And it's when the justice system fails that society does exactly that. So seeing that society has had to punish Roger Ailes, society has had to punish Brock Turner, more so than the justice system has, is very frustrating to me as a woman. So running that and showing all the Twitter posts and the Facebook posts, it was a very emotional experience for me. I was very upset at some of the Twitter posts I found, particularly involving Roger Ailes. There weren't that many posts actually supporting Brock Turner, which I'm very glad about. I am very glad that the people who would actually agree with that nonsense have limited themselves more, and that it's it's a group that's growing smaller and smaller, people who would condone this type of thing. And I'm glad that our society is moving forward like that. But some of the Roger Ailes people were making these terrible jokes. Like, oh, of course they're saying he raped her, she just wants her job back, da-da-da-da. That's not. If it were one, I would step back and I'd let the justice system handle this, but it's so many women who are reporting this. You don't get to joke about that. You don't get to make fun of that. You don't get to make your own assumptions about that. You are not involved in that. And to see people try and take his side on this is very disheartening to me, because, you know, every time I think that America is getting better and better about its rape culture, it's getting better at pointing out, hey, this is not an okay thing to do, we take 2 steps forward and then just one tiny step back. And it's just a little frustrating to see some of that forward motion come backwards. It's kind of like you're running head forward, you're running face forward, straight on ahead, full steam, and you realize you've got a rope tied to your back and you fall backwards. It's a little frustrating. But thankfully, that's done with, that's taken care of. I don't have to think about it anymore. But I think that's part of the problem, which I didn't get to talk about in my Storify, is that it's not my problem. I'm able to just walk away from it. They can't. They have put their careers on the line to report this man, and it may ruin their lives. And we've just walked away and we've stopped talking about the story. Then there's my website. My website makes me happy. It is called The Etymology of Harry Potter Spells.weebly.com. And it is basically just an essay that I did a couple of semesters back, repurposed as a website. It only has about 2 spells for each spell classification, with 3 spells for curses, because if you know the Harry Potter world, you know exactly what 3 curses I did. You know the favorite 3, well, not, I say the word favorite in use that it is the most recognizable of them all. None of us would ever want to actually encounter these. But that was a very fun thing to do. It was very fun to write that essay and talk about, you know, hey, listen, as much as, like, we don't take a long, hard look at some of the spells in Harry Potter, we kind of should, because they're kind of creepy. Like, I wrote that essay after several seasons of Law & Order SVU. I've actually finished the series now, and FYI, the series ends when Elliot leaves. Don't you try and tell me differently. But after all those years, I can actually, it's very easy to see where certain things can be used terribly, like the Imperious Curse. You can see where it could go. as a kid, you don't think about it like that. And J.K. Rowling, brilliantly, I want to say, she does not point this out. Just like with the Umbridge incident, if anybody... Speaking of which, if you're under the age of about 13, stop listening here. You don't need to hear about this. But in Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix, there is a slight implication that Umbridge, a very much hated character, was raped. And I kind of want to do an essay on that as well, because that's something that I always, like, a lot of people don't realize, is that there are these huge issues that are brought up in Harry Potter that are never talked about. Because while she does raise the stakes a lot, she does make it more adult as the books go on. As Harry grows up, the books and you grow with Harry. But at the same time, she still keeps it at a very innocent level when it comes to certain things. And so being able to write about the etymology of the spells, I was able to talk about, you know, like, this spell, it's passed off as a little kid's prank, but if it's done wrong, it could kill someone. Let's talk about that. The possibility of mass murder through nice little spells. But it was very fun to do that website, and I really want people to go look at it, and I really want people to just, you know, be able to take that little dip into the Harry Potter universe. And I put on my contact page, please don't contact me, don't talk to me, I don't know what I'm doing, and I stand by that. Don't talk to me, don't tell me how badly I'm doing with these things. I know I suck. I don't need a reiteration. There's also, we did a Twitter page for the Lamar's Master Program. I made a word cloud and email address, and you know, Twitter's very hard for me, okay? Twitter is a very hard thing for me. We also did an Instagram page, so yeah, there's not really much to say on that one, because it wasn't really, not a lot needed to be done other than just making the account, following a couple people, posting a couple things. It was okay. And finally, there's this long project, which I don't even know how long it is. It's split up into different videos, so I have no clue if I've even reached my target time. I'm really hoping I did. I'm really hoping I'm over 10 minutes, but the whole point of this project was looking back on the summer semester and what I've learned and what I haven't learned and what I've done. And I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed taking this class. I enjoyed having this communication between people. I've reconnected with a couple of friends. I've made a new friend in the process of this, and it's been an amazing class. I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful for everything that I've done. So, thank you, Dr. Starnes, first of all, for teaching this amazing class and being so lenient with my anti-Twitterness and my forgetfulness. Thank you, Erin, for helping me edit both my Storify and my Weebly, and for telling me about the title page. I really owe you for that one, because that was gonna suck later. Thank you so much, Jill, for encouraging me to add in that Brock Turner aspect in my Storify, because I needed it, and it's so much more amazing now. And thank you to you, anyone who watched these videos having absolutely no clue what you were getting into. There's probably not a lot of you, and that's okay. This is me signing off for the last time.